there's this notion of a patriarchy. Smash the patriarchy, men are ruling everything. Doesn't feel like it, does it?
Jesus Christ. I've completely shifted the direction of my business.
It feels like they're pushed under the carpet if they're brought up at all.
The statistics are so high because we don't speak.
Society sees men as these all-powerful things that are actually controlling women all over the place, when in fact, most of us are struggling.
The Untold Podcast is proudly sponsored by Aura Surfaces, specialists in luxury surfaces for extraordinary spaces. Like creating dream homes, building a dream life takes work. That's why we had to get behind this podcast. Real stories, real challenges, and real success. Let's get into it.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Untold Podcast. This is Men's Mental Health. Is it Men's Mental Health Week?
It's just mental health
General
week.
mental health, yeah.
All right, I've genderised that. We're going to start again. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Untold Podcast, and this is Mental Health Week. So we're talking about something else. No, we're not. We're talking about mental health. My name's Des. We've also got Chris.
Good morning.
And we've also got Ash.
Evening.
Right, let's kick it off a little bit differently. Boys, tell me one thing that's happened to you this week that is worth sharing. You've got a minute and a half. Ash, go.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What's happened to me this week? I've completely shifted the direction of my business.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, completely shifted the direction of the business. After last week's podcast where I went into depth about things, it allowed me to sit back, look at it from a different angle and say, actually, do you know what? We need to be doing this. So I put a plan together, sat down with a team, we're all on board and we'll move. Because like I've said many times, the destination stays the same, but the way you get there can alter along the way.
Like it. But this is what happens when you have a conversation with this mug. You decide to flip your business on its head and you change. What did you do?
Hey, this is what's... My name's Chris Stewart.
This is my first beer.
Fuck yeah, if you're looking for someone to give you some life coaching, then my telephone number will be in the link of the podcast.
I love it. So you happy?
Yeah. I can see, not out of the woods yet,
No.
but I'm happy. I'm content in the way I've dealt with things. I'm content in the future of the business, and I'm content in the direction and the path that we want to take to better our lives, as not just me, but for the company and the staff.
Love it, mate. We're coming back to that in future weeks. Your turn. 90 seconds. Beat that.
Well, it's impossible, mate.
Oh, no.
You're aware of how much work I'm doing at the moment and what I'm getting up to. I'd say the most successful thing I've done this week is I washed my van.
Hey, good effort.
I know it sounds really bad, but
Is that your new pressure washer?
I haven't washed my van for about 9-10 months, and it had.
Is that because you had to do a video?
It had "Merry Christmas" written on the back of it.
It did, but I bet it was. It was
No,
a
it
TikTok
wasn't
post.
for that. No, I did it yesterday, and I took my time to do it as well. Honestly, that is probably the most challenging thing I've had in the last 7 days. I'm not gonna lie.
I love it.
Really boring for a podcast, but yeah, I said to you last week, I've got no complaints about anything in a minute.
No, mate.
No, well, you said in a message yesterday, didn't you? There's me. I'm in this mental space, and you're fucking flying high up here in that mental space.
I've got to say, I'm in a good spot at the moment as well.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say because we would have been double teaming you. That's not fair.
I don't give a fuck, mate. I'm happy for both of you. That's why you surround yourself with people.
That's it. But no, for me this week, most important thing that mattered for me this week was that my youngest has had 2 or 3 shocking nights sleep. And I've still woken up in a good mood. I've still worked 12-hour days. And I'm still positive. You know what I mean? It's a little while ago, I'd have been miserable for weeks. But I'm happy.
Yeah.
That must be hard when you're little and not sleeping properly when you're getting up at 5 every morning as well, surely.
Well, luckily, I'm just used to it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't sleep at night. I've been awake 5 o'clock every morning because my brain's going mental. 5 o'clock in the morning now. At least the last 2 mornings. End of last week was slightly different because I was waking up for stress levels. Whereas this week I've woken up because I want to get shit done. And I'm thinking, what can I do today? And I'm like, right, we're doing that. And then get on with it.
It's nicely said, mate, and it segues beautifully into the topic of this week's Untold podcast here on Mental Health Week. Well, it's not Men's Mental Health Week, it's just Mental Health Week, but we're going to talk about men because that's what we are, let's be honest. Today, I want to talk about the invisible pressure that we as men, and most importantly, we as fathers have in what is, I believe, a broken system and stacked massively against men. This whole thing that there's this notion of a patriarchy. Smash the patriarchy, men are ruling everything. It doesn't feel like it, does it?
Those days are gone, aren't they, really?
I think so, mate. Yeah. I think so. So what I'm going to do today, and I know you've got some as well, Ash, we're going to throw out some stats. I want to caveat all of this that we are not digging out women in this entire episode. In fact, we're celebrating women. We have celebrated women on this. That's not what we do. But we're talking about our experiences and we're going to throw out actual statistics. So if you are a lady listening to this and you're triggered, I'm sorry, that's not on us. All right? I'm putting that out there first of all. But disproportionately, in the workplace, men are affected in ways that women aren't. But there are also ways that women are affected. Let's get into it, shall we? Working dads are now the most stressed demographic in the UK. Ash, what's that statistic you threw at us yesterday about suicide?
About 6,000, but this is stats from 2023. 6,000 people took their own lives in 2023. Of that, 75% of them were men.
Wow.
Males.
Wow. Suicide is the biggest killer of men. They talk about prostate cancer. It doesn't touch the suicide rate of men.
It's more awkward to talk about, isn't it? That's why I don't mention it.
That's true. That's true. Because in reality, men are still expected to be the primary earner and a present parent, and we can't do both. And we're running out of mental energy to do it both. So when sorry, mate, go on.
Sorry, are we expected to be, or is that expectations we put on ourselves?
That's a great point. Because I was hoping this would come up. I'm happy to take on that role, but I wonder whether that's our generation where we are. But I wonder if it's younger generations that can't, and that's why birth rate is declining. Yeah. I'm wondering. But when you're the provider and you crack and there is no soft landing, do either of you feel that there is space to admit that you're struggling?
Oh, hell yeah. I do. But that's only because I've been on this journey and I know how important it is to be open and honest with people about the way you're feeling, the way you're doing. Like, it's sort of going off on a tangent, but last week I said to my wife, I said, everything in my life feels like it's a fucking mess. My car's a mess, my head's a mess, the house is a mess, the garden's a mess, everything's a fucking mess. And it like hit me, it was like, fucking hell, go and clean your car then. So I went and cleaned my car. I sat down and reflected on the business, tried to tidy that up. I'm never going to tidy my head up, let's be honest, because it is what it is. But that's sort of, I think, and I said that, and I said those things out loud instead of just thinking them internally. And then I think sometimes by speaking and listening to yourself, you think, oh, actually, okay, right. Can I flip that on its head?
Yeah. How about you, mate?
So I think this is a really difficult and very, very good question, to be fair. I personally don't think there is. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I didn't start talking about anything until about 18 months ago. Bottled all my problems up. I'm very lucky that I do have a very, I don't know what the word is, but my wife listens to me a lot now. You know, I can talk to her quite openly. Still don't like doing it because as a man, I feel like my wife has got problems of her own and I don't want to burden her with my thoughts and my problems and my worries because they then become her worries and her thoughts and her, you know, and her stresses. And I know it's not for, we're talking about us, but as a man, from my own point of view, I look at my wife as if she does a hell of a lot more than I do, but it's stuff that you don't actually see that she does. I mean, we had a discussion about it yesterday, to be fair, I spoke to you a minute ago. We do the stuff that's seen. You know, the men go out physically, they go out, get their shoes on in the morning, they go to work, they earn the money, they pay the bills. I know we know 2 household incomes now, but we're talking about us boys again. We come home shattered. You know, I come home, I sit on the sofa and I want a cup of tea first thing I want to do. My wife, I'm lovely, makes me a cup of tea and I chill out for 5 minutes. And then I'm on with my boys, daddy. So then I'm done, right? So I'm playing and all that. But while I'm doing all that, she's not been grafting all day. She's now doing the dinner. She's getting ready for like bedtime and all that sort of stuff. So I don't want to burden my missus with all of my crap that I'm thinking about. And I certainly don't want to burden all of my mates with it because I know they're blokes as well and they're going through the same thing themselves. So, there will be people out there that won't want to burden other people, and that's what I kind of feel like it is a burden.
Yeah, no,
You know?
100%.
That's how I am, mate. That's exactly how I am. You don't want to put that pressure on your other half when you know that they're doing as much as they possibly are. And it's the old stereotype, isn't it? Husband comes home from work, hello honey, how was your day? And he'll listen to her problems and take them on board, never then shares his own. And from my own point of view, I've been playing out my life on social media. This whole journey about what I'm doing, if I crack, that would dishearten an awful lot of people into not starting their business, which goes against everything that I want to do online. So I don't have many people to share with. One of the reasons why I went to therapy. So there was someone that I knew that couldn't talk about it out loud that I could actually share it with. But it's brutal, isn't it? Then this is the thing. Society sees men as these all-powerful things that are actually controlling women all over the place, when in fact, most of us are struggling. Most of us are crumbling.
Oh, yeah. I said to Chris last week, I literally felt broken. I sat in the office upstairs. I really need to go home. I really need to go home. But actually, what you're saying, what I've said, I'm going to contradict myself now, because I sat out there and I didn't want to take home the way I was feeling. I sat in that office. I don't know, it might have even been an hour, just thinking, writing, journaling, doing whatever I could to try and flip my headspace. Because it's not fair. I don't feel it's fair for the kids to see me aggy, miserable, moody. I don't think it's right for my wife. Like, my wife's going through her own things. She's got her own things to do. She's stressing about the same things I'm stressing about. Yeah. But sometimes I think, oh, shit. Yeah, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So I think you're right. Actually, I will talk to people if I'm happy to put my heart on my sleeve and be very authentic with it. But then to the right people.
Yeah.
I actually talk to people when I'm spoken to. That's the difference with me. I don't talk to people unless I'm asked.
Yeah. Someone
asks me, what's wrong with you? I'll tell them.
Yeah.
But unless someone actually sits down and takes the time to go, right, babe, what's going on? Why are you so moody? What are you thinking about? Or one of my mates goes, Chris, you're not yourself recently. You're saying no to coming out for a beer or whatever. Like, what's going on? Then I'll open up. But I'm never the sort of person that will just start talking to someone, mate, can I have a chat? Because I'm not feeling great.
Yeah. I know when I'm in a bad way, I'm unreasonable. I know I am. I know I am. But I hate being that person out loud because I know I come across as a dickhead. So I hide it as much as I possibly can. Sometimes it's impossible because it will fucking leak out. I mean, I was a bit of a knobhead to you boys last week. I know I was. I was unreasonable. That happens so rarely. But at the same point, I'm doing so much to bottle that person up. It can't be healthy. Amazing, isn't it?
It's not, and this is why I think this sort of does pull down to mental strength, health, because we do live our life. Like you just said, you live your life through social media, yeah? You don't want to be seen to be broken because then you're going to discourage the people you've been trying to encourage in.
Yeah.
But then people see, oh, Des is fantastic. Des doesn't have no problems. Des is all...
It's not realistic.
Des is a robot.
5 a.m.
We're not. So I think, and this is where I think a hell of a lot of it comes from and why the suicide rates are going up. I spend way too long scrolling through social media. Way too long. And that doesn't help up here. It does because I switch off in that moment. But I could be doing better things. But then you're watching, oh, look at him. He's driving a Lambo. Oh, he's doing this. He's doing that. And I have to snap myself out of it and think he's got there through hard work and determination and he's put himself in the right place at the right time. I can do that. My time's not come yet. Let's move on from it.
You ain't going to do it sitting on your phone all night, though, are you?
Exactly. Well, some people do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's what I'm trying to do.
yeah. But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like, you sat here and openly admitted that you don't want to be seen to be struggling, broken down, because you might discourage the people. And that is, I think, a big reason of why mental health in everybody. Look at kids. There's kids with anxiety and depression. I know this is about men, but there's kids that are struggling because they're constantly watching the highlight reel.
Yeah. Well, this is the irony, right? Because we all appreciate when a woman is going through problems, they get all the support, whether that's a PMD thing or whether that's an anxiety thing. It could be any one of female-related issues.
Yeah.
The men issues, it feels like they're pushed under the carpet if they're brought up at all. And when it is addressed, it's very much a surface thing. and the men aren't necessarily getting the help. And because of that, the problem isn't being looked at. Because the problem's being ignored, you're never going to have the right solution. This is a proper triggering thing, but we talk about domestic violence. Men, 34% of all domestic violence victims are men. 1 in 3. Now you tell me, men to women ratio for refuge homes for domestic violence victims. How many female ones do you think there are?
I have no idea. I wouldn't even like to have a stab in the dark at that one.
Let me have hang on a minute. Pause this for the edit. I need this to be seamless. Okay. There are 4,344 women's refuge centres in the UK. There are 436 men's. So even though every victim is 1 in 3, a refuge centre is 1 in 10.
And I think the potential reason for that is because men would feel weak and ashamed to admit that.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's not the women's fault. I want to make this clear.
No,
That's not the women's fault.
No. And, you know, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it in my own eyes. I don't think for 1 minute my missus beats me up because she doesn't. But I have seen it with my own eyes. And you can get to a point where you're not going to speak to anybody because why would a man let a woman abuse him? He's a man.
Because he's powerful.
He should be able to say,
exactly.
I am man, you do not abuse me.
Exactly.
You know, like, it's back to that archaic caveman side of things, isn't it? So that's 100% why. But the whole system, I mean, we mentioned it when we spoke about the construction mental health, didn't we? The whole system is fucked.
Yeah.
It's nobody's fault other than the people that look after this country. I say look after it, that ruin this country.
The highest rate of homelessness is men.
Yeah.
The highest rate of assault victims are men. The highest rate of prisoners are men. The lowest paid in society are men. The highest rate of suicide are men. It's nuts. And we're not even talking about the family courts and separation. We're going through contact with kids and child maintenance. Yeah. We're not even going down that road.
That's for another day because that disgusts me.
Yeah.
That absolutely disgusts me.
So how is this a patriarchy?
But then you'll probably find, actually, while we're talking, just quickly touching on that, the system that is deciding how much men have to pay towards their ex-wives or their ex-girlfriends or whatever that take their kids away from them, stop them from seeing them, like just basically make the man's life a misery. There's probably a massive percentage of that suicide rate that is because of that exact reason.
It's 100% true.
You know, like, so it is. It's not just, you know, being the alpha man. You're actually punished for just pretty much everything as you go through life.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
This is the thing, though. There are lots of things. People are having to do the work. The people that have been through it, like us, for example, the people are having to do the work to help other people in that situation. Because you go to your GP and say, as a man, and say, right, I'm depressed. They give you pills. Now, whereas the tablets will work for certain people, I think there are better ways to deal with it. There's places like Andy's Man Club, which are popping up everywhere now, and it's fucking brilliant. You've got groups like Men and Their Emotions on Facebook, which are very highly looked after by people. And people are putting in there some really, really close to themselves things. You can post anonymously. And there's other lads on there that are helping them with legal advice, helping them with places to stay, helping them with a roof over their heads, dropping them a bit of money for some dinner and stuff. But the problem is we're having to do it. You go to the GP, I need to see, what's the waiting list to see, to see someone about your mental health? Oh, God, years.
Exactly.
By that time, the person, they've ended it all because there was no light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly.
Just another statistic.
And when you've got half of the population that are affected by these societal lies, let's call it what it is, people aren't being born anymore. Birth rate is as low as it's ever been. Yeah. Our kid got into the best school in the area and schools are literally fighting for children to go now because they can't fulfill subscriptions anymore. And it's going to get worse because the issue with men isn't being treated. Because they've just hired, in the last 2 years, a minister for women's been created. There's no minister for men. Yeah. It's brutal.
And it's sort of been pushed, hasn't it? It's been pushed. Yes, I agree with everything that happened in history and that, and women going in the army and women voting rights.
Oh,
women,
absolutely.
We should all be equal.
Yeah, and violence to women and girls is unacceptable, right? Yeah. It's mental, I've got to say that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, and we've all, but then it gets pushed too far. It gets pushed too far, this political stuff. Oh, you can't do that in a workplace because she's a female and he's a male. You can't do that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about mental health. But as men, we take on a lot of responsibility. I know I do, and I can only talk for myself. I feel responsible for making sure that my wife doesn't need to be stressed about money. My kids have everything that they need. We get to do nice things. I take that on. And that stresses me the fuck out. Yeah. But I carry on doing it because I want the best. I was privileged enough to live a good life as a child and have things that other kids didn't. And I want that for my kids. But that puts a massive strain on me. And what I've realised over the last couple of weeks is I'm not present with them and enjoying time with them because I'm focusing too much on trying to give them more. When really they might not want more. They might just want more of me, if that makes sense.
That is all they want, isn't it, really?
That is all they want.
I've seen it the last couple of weeks, the difference between my little boy compared to what he was with me beforehand. He just wants your time. That's all they want. They just want the time.
Apart from when they get a bit older, and
well, yeah, I mean,
get a bigger house.
That'll change. Yeah,
Can we have a swimming pool?
Yeah.
And I want a horse in my garden. My friend's got a horse in their garden. We can have one, but it's a bit
I think as men, though, we do have to take a bit of responsibility here as well, because I'm sitting here listening to you two, and obviously I'm listening to myself as I'm speaking. You know, saying that I don't speak out unless I'm spoken to. The statistics are so high because we don't speak. If we started speaking more and we decided that actually, yes, we're men, but it's 2025 now, it's not fucking 1960s. We don't have to be that man that we used to be. Yeah, look, listen, I'm not suggesting we all start wearing eyeliner and fucking eyeshadow and everything, you know, like, and turn into women, but we have got to start speaking out. We have got to start asking for help. We have got to start asking for change. That's the main thing. Yeah. And the only way things are going to change is if people do start asking for it. Otherwise, those statistics are going to get worse and worse and worse. And we'll be sitting here hopefully not sitting here. Well, we're sitting here hopefully in a couple of years, but not sitting here hopefully having this conversation. Yeah. Otherwise, we will. You know? Yeah. There's no change unless you try and change it yourself.
No, that's true. And I will go so far as to say that our generation, and this is why I believe this podcast works, is we are aware. We're all self-aware enough to know when we're mentally struggling.
Yeah. And
we're all conscious enough to know we chose this.
Yeah.
But we come from the generation where it was taught upon us by our parents, wasn't it? We're the men, we're the paycheck, we're the support, we're the rock, we're all that. So we're doing it willingly.
Yeah.
We're also pressurised into it, but we are doing it willingly. It's the generations that come after us where they're seeing us be more hands-on. My dad never changed a nappy in his life.
Yeah.
He's got 9 grandkids, still hasn't. Right? Me and my 2 brothers, we were much more hands-on on the day-to-day, but we worked fewer hours than my dad did, in fairness to him. But I know that we're impressing upon our kids, our boys, that it doesn't have to be the way of our generations before. It's just teaching them the mental capacity to also be confident enough that when they're struggling, they need to ask.
My worry that for the youngsters now is that there's so much mental health problems that they don't actually know what it's going to feel like to not feel like there's something wrong. So they're just going to think that it's normal to feel like that.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
It's almost been, there's a glorified market, isn't there, for mental health and stuff. And this is the thing, that the youth of today are growing up, you can go on Reddit and there's a form that you can read how to get PIP. There's forums on like Reddit you can go onto, know exactly what happens. The GP's sitting there. Okay, yeah, well, he's ticked that box. He's ticked that. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're qualified for PIP. We'll speak to you in a year. The GPs don't care. So it's being encouraged because it's so easy to do. Not that, and there's people that are genuinely really struggling, really contemplating life, are going through some real shit who can't get the help they need. And that's what I think's wrong. Obviously, it's very difficult for a GP to define on the phone whether someone's really mentally ill or whatever. And I think that's it's been glorified. I'm sorry to say it, but mental health has been glorified. Well, you look at some of the old comedians 15 years ago and they talk now like, we didn't know what ADHD was. We didn't know what... I'm not saying it's not real.
No.
So don't like...
But they're all miserable, those older comedians.
Yeah. But they got through life. I've got a question for you. If you've obviously been through both of you, some tough times. Look back at a time that's pretty fucking tough, that's been How did you get through it? What was you going through? Not what was you going through, but how did you feel at the time? And did you come out the end of it? Is there a time you can think of?
I mean, I'm not going to say the time, but
No.
It's easy to come out the other end of it if you realise in life you'll come out the end of everything.
Yeah.
It's an obvious answer. Everything will always get better. It might feel like everything is the shittest it's ever been in your entire life, but if you keep going, one day it's like we spoke about the other week. When you start a new job, you think you're crap at it to start with. The more you do it, all of a sudden you wake up one morning, you go to work, you don't even think about working. That is how change comes. You just get on with life. You do what you got to do to just get through every day. And then one day you will wake up in the morning and everything will be better. I don't give a toss how bad your issues are. Sorry if I'm saying this out of turn, but it will eventually get better. But you have to just get yourself through to that point.
It's happened a few times where I know it's going to get bad. So I block my calendar out. I make sure that the gym is a non-negotiable. I ring up my mates, let's go for a beer, and I book therapy. I know if I'm going down the bad road, right, get yourself physically fit, get yourself mentally fit, and get through the day-to-day. You know what I mean? It's the classic stuff. Talk to people. Yeah. Talk to people. Surround yourself with friends. Do some exercise. The irony is when I'm in a good mental place, I don't do any of that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a much better answer than mine, to be fair. I just went down the route of I just literally concentrated on myself and nothing else and tried to get myself through it. And obviously, years ago, I never spoke to anybody or did anything to better anything in my head. But even I got through it, you know, and I was one of those closed books that never speak to anybody. I know that you would easily speak to more people than I would. So kind of shows two different
personality types, isn't it?
My brain goes into fight or flight mode, and it's nothing or everything, and it will tell me every single time. I can go back however many years my memory serves me. Every single time I sat there, whether it was relationships, whether it was this, whatever it was, every time my brain would tell me worst case scenario, the worst possible thing is going to happen to you. And 100% of the time, it never fucking happened.
That's it, man.
And that's what I thought to myself last week. Get on, forget that. You can't let your past dictate your future.
No.
You can only live in the present. Yeah, it's happened in the past, learn from it. I learned a hell of a lot mentally. Mental resilience is something that I'd like to learn more about. Because it's powerful when you're going through these things, having that mental resilience, understanding that your brain's telling you something that's probably not going to actually come to fruition.
Yeah.
Is quite an important thing to learn, I think.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? It is interesting. And again, we're kind of in a system where we can't say we're proud men and thump our chest and go, yeah, look at us, free guys, men power, look at us, we're doing it. The messaging that females have is very different from the messaging that men are allowed. Yeah. It's feeling like, and I'm willing to be proved wrong in the comments here, it's feeling like men are treated more as objects than women are. And yes, there have been decades and decades and decades where men treated women like objects. Currently, it feels like it's the other way around. There is girl power, women power on TV shows. Us girls stick together. When would men ever get away with saying that?
Yeah. Oh, you can't put on a chocolate bar made for men. You can't have Kleenex men's-sized tissues anymore. We've taken something, and instead of pivoting it and balancing it in the middle, it's now pushing the other way.
That's it. But
you can have pink tissues, and it says on the box, women's tissues.
Girls' tissues.
Yeah.
There are all sorts of products that we sell on TikTok.
Yeah.
Women only.
Yeah.
What's the men only product?
Yeah,
apart from
because we're not allowed to do it because political and this PC bullshit has pushed it too far. Yeah. Yes, it needed to change. I 100% agree it needed to change. We should be treated as equals. If the female in a relationship is the breadwinner, then that's great. If the male's the breadwinner, then great. Obviously, we're in a point now where both of you have got to go out and earn the same money because society is fucking us from every angle with the cost of everything. So now we're in that sort of limbo, whereas it should have sat on the seesaw and balanced it out, but instead it didn't. It pushed it too far the wrong way.
That's it.
That's what I think.
But again, kind of people have to take responsibility for what they've caused, because it is the people that have caused a lot of that at the same time.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
And then it'll
We've got P. Diddy in court at the moment. How's that working out for you, pal? Yeah, exactly.
But it's the same people that are causing those problems that are then moaning about those problems very publicly.
Yeah.
You know? So it's people just really need to just fucking get a grip, as far as I'm concerned. Not with their mental health, but with themselves, that are just causing most of the problems at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into it. But you know exactly the sort of person I am. You know
exactly.
where I'm going with that. But I'm not going to do it on a podcast.
No, I do. And there is an awful lot that men are to blame for. There is an awful lot that men are to blame for the last 20 years. But it feels like at the moment we're to blame for everything. Mm-hmm. And that don't seem fair.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one person in this country that's a man that's to blame for pretty much everything at the moment, isn't there?
All right.
The bitching, man. Or the coke sniffing. We won't go into that. That's quite funny. That's quite funny. That. But I think, like, I don't know what anyone else has got to say, but if there's someone listening to this who really, really is in a dark, deep place, what would your one bit of advice be?
So I've actually had something in my head that I wanted to say at the end anyway, so I might as well say it now because it kind of leads straight on. If you are now listening to this and you are thinking that the world is a better place without you and that people will be better off without you, I can guarantee you they will be more upset with the fact that you are not here than you are here and things are going to shit.
Yeah. Whoever you are listening to this, you have touched more lives than you will ever know.
Mm.
And that's the thing, like when you read these statistics and stuff about, that wasn't just a statistic. That was someone's dad. That was someone's brother.
Yeah.
That was someone's son. That was someone's boss. That was someone's best mate. That was someone's, do you know what I mean? And then you're not just a statistic. The world will not be better off without you. Reach out. There's plenty of places that you can go. You can take yourself. It's like AA, isn't it? There's a lot of people that go to AA, they don't mention it. There's plenty of places like Andy's Man Club. If you're really struggling, I know firsthand from other people that have visited one of these, it's changed their lives. And it's all anonymous. You can post anonymous on groups and people will come back to you. You have to realise that people are going to still be dickheads because there's dickheads in the world. But 99% of the time, you will get constructive comments on whatever you're going through.
Absolutely.
Someone's been there, someone's done it.
Yeah.
And someone's got out the other end.
And if you are a parent and you're feeling that way, it will mess your child up.
Yeah, definitely. Whatever the situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of all this laughter and bants.
Yeah, but it's an important topic to discuss.
It
isn't
is. And it's Mental Health Week. It's important. You're dead right. You're dead right. But
Yeah, we couldn't. I mean, we couldn't. There's been loads of points throughout the podcast where I wanted to throw a joke in, just like a minute ago, where you said, you know, you've touched more people's lives than no one else. Yeah, there was some serious jokes coming in there, but it's not really that podcast, is it today?
No.
So
No.
it is quite a serious one.
I really haven't.
But I just going back, I've seen it firsthand. My auntie committed suicide when I was like 15, and it was fucking horrible, really, really horrible. Like my mum was in bits. And she'd lost my nan and my granddad about a year and a half beforehand. And to watch my mum go through that was disgusting. It was like really horrible to watch. And my auntie just thought the world was a better place without her because she couldn't cope. You know, so that's why I said that, because it's really, really important to understand that, you know, things are shit. I've had mind fucks where I thought I'm better off not here, but I've never been at that point where actually I think it's something that I'm going to do. But it's so important to just, if you ever get to that point, just really think about what you are leaving behind, rather than now think about the future for all those people.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you are over 30 and you're a man and you're struggling and all of the stuff that we've talked about is something that you're relating to, this is how it's important to know that you're not on your own. Because it is a pressure that all men are going through at the moment. This bit where we're meant to be all powerful, all strong, all supportive, yet at the same point, nobody's talking to us about our feelings. It's it's a hard role to play, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it is. And we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves, more than we put. Like, I can sit and speak to my wife. She said, yeah, but you don't need to do that. You don't. But me internally feel like, yeah, but I need to do that. And that's me, because I want to strive for better things. But that's just the way I'm wired. We're not all wired the same. And that's a really important point to make. Everybody's different. Everybody's going through different stuff. But the way out of it is not to take the way out, the easy way out. The way out of it is to work on yourself, to work on it, to speak to people, to open up, wear your heart on your sleeve. You'd be amazed how, even when we sit in here and we chat, the three of us, it makes you feel better. Mm-hmm. When we sat and spoke last week and I was going through hell, I come away from that conversation, I felt like I'd got it off my chest. I felt like I'd let it release and it was gone. And now I was ready to move on. Yeah. I think it's important to sometimes, obviously, you don't want to become a needy. Oh, mate, I've been really upset this week, because your mates will get fed up with you, because that's not banter. But if you're really struggling, you will have friends that will be there and they will listen to you.
So, one word answer. Who are you working this hard for?
Shouldn't have thought about that so hard, should I? Myself.
I like it.
Because if I've said it before, if you don't love yourself, how can you expect anyone else to love you?
No, that's true.
So if you're not working for yourself, you're never going to better yourself, and people ain't going to be happy around you, are they? No. That was a lot more than one word.
You've got to lead by example.
And can we edit that out after one word? Cause
myself.
No editing, it's unfiltered.
No, I'm joking.
We'll leave it.
Just apart from that massive pause when Des was trying to remember the statistic.
Just might remember it.
Oh, we'll put an ad in there. Let's put an ad over that bit.
My roadshow. Anyway, go on.
But yeah, no, I think it is important. You don't want to become a softie. You don't want to. That's not politically correct. I can't say that. You don't want to become that needy friend. But I've got friends who I know, if I reach out to them and say, and they always pick me up, always, because they can look at it from a different angle. You'll be internalising that your world is about to end, and then really, it's not. All you takes is for someone from the outside looking in and be, yeah, mate, but you can do this and do this and do that. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
I don't feel so bad about my 25-word answer now.
I thought we'd done that. Oh, no, I thought we'd passed that.
You did that. Good job.
No, I was going to say myself as well. I was in the corner nodding. I thought you saw me.
Oh, right, sorry.
I was going to say myself as well.
Lovely. Yeah, nice. I think.
What about you?
Honestly,
so let's not let you get out of it.
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into this whole thing. Every time I close my eyes and I've got the money I've got in my head, it's the family doing something. I didn't want Claire to go back to work. She was on maternity, didn't want her to go back to work. I wanted my kids to have a better life. I was just there too. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. That wasn't
I just feel like everybody else around me is happier when I'm happy.
That's the other thing, mate, yeah.
Know what I mean?
Well, you can pull people up, can't you? Or you can either pull people up or you can be a mood over and pull people down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the other thing as well. I'm willing to bet every man out there that is breaking themselves with work and all of the pressures that we're going through, they're doing it so they can have a better life, so everyone else can have a better life as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Should we wrap that up then, boys?
I think we have.
I'm breaking myself.
What should we talk about next week?
Desperate for the toilet.
Let's talk about how traffic wardens should be armed or something next week, shall we? Right, everybody, let us know what you think in the comments. We are expecting some strong opinions on this. Bring it on. That's all. We love all of you. There's no such thing as a troll if you're talking constructively, because we understand that there's all sorts of sides of the debate on this one. We'll leave it be. Ash.
Yeah. See you later.
Chris.
See you next week.
Tell all your friends. We'll be back next week. Take care.